Hi everyone, I'm going to try my hand at making a guide for this fight for the free company now that I've cleared it. So the way we set up the arena is we have marker A in the northwestern quadrant, marker B between the two eastern quadrants, and marker C in the southeastern quadrant. One thing to note is that one quadrant at a time will light up a bright yellow, and if you walk into a glowing quadrant, you will get a very potent burn debuff that cannot be cleansed, so please avoid glowing quadrants at all costs. One way to tell if the quadrant will detonate next is the perimeter of the quadrant itself. The quadrant will glow orange to let you know that it is the next one that will be engulfed in the burning lava, so to speak. But to tell beforehand, you can look at the perimeter of the room as well as the pipes between the party and the boss. They will glow and there will be a wave effect in the perimeter of the room. The pull is pretty standard, but shortly after the pull, there will be two power generators that drop. And we have each healer pick up their own power generator and take it to a respective quadrant. We have our white mage go to the northwestern quadrant and the scholar go to the southeastern quadrant and drop it in the middle of the circle as shown in the video. This causes the generator to detonate and it will resurrect all the knocked out Fausts. There's 6 in total, which we then group up in that quadrant, and shortly after, piles of scrap will drop on 3 random targets as well as the main tank, and scrap burst must be line of sighted using those piles of scrap. The main tank has his own pile so that he can hide there, and the party should hide behind the scrap piles in their quadrant. Next we have the main tank move to A and the party move to C. The most important thing is that they're 180 degrees from each other. The boss will cast Stockpile, which eats any corpses left on the field, which is why you want to move the Fausts to the glowing quadrant, so they can be melted down. The following move is called Scrap Line, which is the 180 degree cleave that will one-shot people that are hit by it. You must be standing 180 degrees from the tank. 2 more generators will spawn. We have our off-tank pick up one and the scholar pick up the other. The scholar will place it down next to the lone vanguard on the right-hand side of the A quadrant. The warrior will drop it in the big group of mobs in that same quadrant and pull it towards the C quadrant. While this is happening, all 4 DPS are marked with a blue reticule, which drops acid rain. It's an AoE pool that drops on top of the marked people, so you want to have them spread out. AoE these adds down in the glowing quadrant, which is currently quadrant C, and everybody will want to move towards the northern quadrant. A healer will be targeted with a stack mechanic, stack on the B marker or to the right of the B marker, but you do not want to be standing in the C quadrant. The boss will then cast Stockpile, which would eat any corpses left on the field, but we've melted them in the C quadrant. At this point, the quadrant clears. Everyone wants to move back to the C quadrant because immediately after, he does the 180 cleave again. Soon after this, a giant Faust will drop on the field that the warrior will want to pick up from the A quadrant and bring to the B marker, being careful not to cleave the party. The party will then move behind the Faust and start DPSing it down while the main tank moves between the A quadrant and the D quadrant to avoid being burned by the now glowing A quadrant. This Faust is the first and only major DPS check of this fight, and it must be killed before the C quadrant begins to glow, or it will detonate and kill the party. While you are killing the Faust, all your DPS will be marked with the acid rain marker again, and they must spread out in order to avoid splashing each other with excess damage. Your healers must make sure to cap everybody off because there will be a AoE damage coming out from the Faust. Soon after the AoE damage, you'll see markers on 3 random people and your main tank to make another wall to protect yourselves from scrap burst. Hide behind these walls and quickly move out of the now glowing C quadrant into the northeastern quadrant to avoid being burned. After the C quadrant clears from the lava, your party will move into the C quadrant and prepare for the next phase. Your off-tank will move into the southwestern quadrant and prepare to pick up a generator that spawns there. An alarm spawns in that same quadrant that a ranged DPS can pick up, bring into the C quadrant, and kill it a safe distance from where the melee DPS are wailing on the boss. The off-tank will take the generator to the northwestern quadrant and revive the vanguards that spawn there. No other mobs should be revived at this time. 3 more of the scrap piles will drop on the field. Your warrior will hide with your main tank and the rest of the party will line of sight scrap burst just as before. The warrior will bring the adds into the southwestern quadrant, and the party will AoE them down as quickly as possible. Soon after these mobs die, there will be a stack mechanic that will congregate on the C quadrant. Everyone will stack up, and soon after, the boss will use stockpile and eat the 2 corpses left on the field. This is normal and to be expected, and he will regenerate his second arm. The reason we kill the alarum in the C quadrant is because this is where the party will be when the boss starts casting double scrapline. Once you see the boss starts casting it, you want to move into the puddle dropped by the alarm in order for everybody to turn mini. You do this so you can avoid the unavoidable 360-degree damage. If for whatever reason the puddle is not there because the ad died too soon, or whatever the case may be, you can survive it with tank limit break and proper mitigation spells. At this time, more generators will spawn, and your scholar will pick up one and the warrior the other, the scholar dropping it next to the lone gob tank and moving back to the A quadrant. While this is happening, your main tank will move into the northeastern quadrant and then move into the C quadrant before the glowing bombs in the northeastern quadrant detonate. The reason for the staggered movement of the main tank is to avoid cleaving the warrior and scholar that are in the C quadrant resurrecting adds. The adds will be brought into the glowing A quadrant and AoE down. We do have our paladin pop hallowed ground at this point in order to allow the scholar to add low spam themselves and the white mage to help AoE down the adds. When the generators first spawned, there was an alarm that spawned in that quadrant that the ranged DPS picked up and killed off to the side just as before in order to handle this double scrap line that occurs at this point. At this point, the boss should be at approximately 10 to 12% HP, and you should hopefully have level 3 limit break. I'm not exactly sure what to do with all the things that spawn in the field at this point. I just know that you have to avoid bomb explosions and glowing platforms, and there's an AoE stack mechanic. We use our melee LB3, and then we proceed to burn down the boss. If for whatever reason you don't burn down the boss before he uses stockpile, he will eat everything on the field, regenerate his torso, and instantly kill the party. The eating of everything will restore his HP and make it nearly impossible to kill him before he finishes his cast. Hopefully, though, you get the clear like we did, and if not, then I'm sure there are other guides out there that go more extensively into that last set of ads. I hope this was even a little bit helpful, and I wish everybody luck on getting their clears. Best of luck to everyone, and don't forget to report your kills on the site.